Alright, I normally don't like to make videos on this channel where it's just me standing in front of the camera, not doing any cool activities, but we have a big decision to make. Next step in the car saga is that at some point in the near to semi-near future, we're going to be finding a replacement for the 458. And I have to decide what that's going to be. I've narrowed it down to 4 different options, and I figured I could rattle those off for you, and we can have a little discussion. At the end of the day, obviously, it's going to be my decision, but I'll look forward to the feedback, and I also think it'll just be fun to list off the different possibilities, dream about it, and maybe through listing them all off and doing sort of a pros and cons thing in my head, it'll make the choice even clearer. So, we begin with the first possibility to replace the 458 with another Ferrari, the 488 Pista. It's the track-oriented version of the 488, 710 horsepower. I think it's the first time they're putting some active aero in one of the mid-engine V8 non-hypercar Ferraris, and God, it looks so good. It's gonna have the carbon fiber wheel option from Carbon Revolution, who make the 4GT wheels. I was actually talking with the guy who founded that company, and he was telling me more about them the other week at E3. Anyway, sounds great. I would love one. I would absolutely love one. It's a little bit more than I'd like to spend, but Ferrari's Super Sport Special Series, those cars resell usually for more than you bought them for, so it's like it doesn't really matter that much because you probably won't lose any money on it, if that. Sometimes you can resell them for even more than you purchased it for. However, I can't get one. I've asked my salesperson at the local Ferrari dealership, and I have not purchased enough Ferraris in order to be eligible for an allocation. So that basically rules that one out 100% completely out the gate. I guess it narrows down my choices a little bit. Can't say I'm not a little bit sad about it, but I understand. He told me there were people who have bought 5 Ferraris through the same dealership who were not able to get an allocation, so sad days. You can't always get what you want. It's okay, we got the Ford GT. I can't keep on my lucky streak forever. So as much as I'd love to have a Pista, that one's not happening. Okay, so we'll move on to the next. You probably heard me if you saw a previous vlog of mine mentioning that the Ford GT40 replica from Superformance could be pretty cool. Pros on that one: 550 to 600 horsepower depending upon your engine, 2,200 pounds. So the power to weight ratio is just unreal. You've also got no traction control, no stability control, no ABS, no modern systems to interfere with your driving experience. It looks cool as hell. I'm sure it's super fun and very different from most of the things that I've ever driven in the past. It'll force me to learn a manual transmission, well, before, and then get even more well acquainted to it once I have the car. And it should be all around probably pretty fun. Cons: it's 2,200 pounds, 550 to 600 horsepower, no traction control, no stability control, no ABS, no airbags. So you crash, you die. That's it. So the pros and the cons on that car are also kind of the same. Also, being in LA, even if you're on your way to a nice wide open canyon run area or you're driving to a track, you're gonna end up in traffic on the way there. And it's gonna not be terribly fun to drive that car in traffic. Left foot's gonna get really tired, I'm sure. It does have air conditioning, but the windows don't open. It's only got like a little kind of cracked vent thing, so you couldn't take it into a parking garage because you wouldn't be able to reach out and get the ticket. So there are some practicality issues with it. And also, did I mention you die if you crash? So that has me, a little bit worried. Also, I've mentioned in the future, I want to only get cars that I can spec out from the factory. I can document the whole delivery process and all that. And this car, well, I would do it with this one. I feel like once I get it, I'm not gonna cycle it out. It's not one that I then quickly get rid of to go and get another car that I document the process on. So it makes it so that for the future of this kind of content, I have to get more garage space. And I don't exactly know the best approach to that. So that's another con there as well. Anyway, it still is quite a fantastic thing. And we'll see. It's not completely ruled out like the Pista is because I can't actually get a Pista. Next up on the list, we have the Porsche GT3 RS, which I'm sure there are going to be a lot of people watching this very passionate about. It's a 911, obviously, and it's got some pretty significant history to go along with that. It's also the only naturally aspirated, well, I guess the GT40 is a naturally aspirated engine, but it doesn't sound like the screaming high-revving V8 that you get out of the GT3 RS, which sounds far better than the GT2 RS, even though the GT2 RS is far more powerful, but since that's turbocharged, mutes the exhaust note a little bit. So GT3 RS sounds great, looks great. I could match the Miami Blue if I wanted to, and with the new Visoc package for the 2019, you can get the carbon fiber hood, carbon fiber roof, magnesium wheels if you want, make it look just super awesome. And I'm sure it performs great on track. I've never driven one. It would be my first foray into 911s, but probably a pretty good one to do it in. Cons on that one though, dealerships are gonna charge well over MSRP, and just as a matter of principle, I don't like that. I don't like that a dealership can just be like, yeah, I see you Porsche corporate telling people this is what the car costs, but we're just gonna add a lot more and pocket that. I don't like that. I really like how Ford did it with the GT, where it was all controlled, couldn't jack up the prices. Yes, I know not everyone was a fan of the application process. I got very lucky, admittedly. Anyway, that's in the past. There is no like price control when it comes to the Porsche Super Duper RS models. The resale, it does hold its value pretty well, so I'm not terribly concerned about that. Porsche, you know, their brand image is held in pretty high regard, so their cars do maintain their resale pretty well. Other than that, my dad has always wanted a 911, and so I would feel kind of weird about buying one before he has owned one, which is not really a con for the car, but it's just like this mental thing of mine where I feel kind of weird about doing it. So that's another thing that kind of takes away from the possibility. Sure, it's an absolutely great car. It's definitely within the realm of possibility. And I would have said very much within the realm of possibility had it not been for an announcement just a couple days ago, McLaren 600 LT. Now you might be thinking, Jordan, you already have the 675 LT, so why would you get a 600 LT? The number is lower. So the 600 LT is the track-oriented LT version of the 570. So the sports series of McLaren, which is below the Super Series, which is what the 650 was part of, and the 675, etc., etc. However, 600 LT is gonna weigh 2,750 pounds. Well, that's the lowest dry weight if you spec it with all the lightest options, which I probably would do. So add a couple 100 pounds once you have fluids involved and all that. But still, we could potentially be looking at a sub 3,000 pound weight with 592 horsepower, I think is the final figure on there. I think 600 PS is where they get the number from. Anyway, it looks so good. I think that whatever they do, each time they do an LT, all the little tweaks to the carbon bits on the outside, just the little bits to body tweak and all that, just make it so sublime over the standard 570 or the 650. It just does it for me. It's got 918 Carrera GT style exhausts pointing up from the deck lid. Spits flames. Oh, if I got that, once I'm at a break-in, just go hard, acceleration at night, just see a flash in your rear view. Oh my God, that's pretty cool. And then further benefit in getting that is McLaren, as they're establishing themselves more and more, because they haven't been making road cars for all that long. So I've had the 675 LT. If I get the 600 LT, that could then lead me into getting potentially the 7 whatever LT. And then from there, who knows? Maybe after that, could there be an Ultimate Series a la P1 or Senna, that series of car in the future, whatever the Senna successor is? I'm not sure. Building up that brand equity is kind of a tempting proposition, and that's a benefit that I get out of getting the 600 LT. Also, I'm sure it's gonna be so fast. I wonder if it'll outperform the 675. They haven't unveiled any performance figures for it, but I'm sure that despite the reduction in power, it's also got the reduction in weight, and they probably worked so much on tweaking the aero, they've learned a lot since the 675, that it could be faster. I don't know. And I'll be able to spec it straight from the factory, get it exactly how I wanted, whereas with the 675, I got it as it was at the dealership. And so I could equip a roof scoop. I could ask for carbon fiber bits on the hood. I could ask for just anything, custom color, etc. Obviously, I can do that with any of the other cars, but MSO allows you to go like really above and beyond with the customizations, as long as you're willing to pay for it. So we'll have to see what the cost is if we go forward with that one. Anyway, even though I mentioned 4 cars, really we only have 3 to choose from here. We've got the GT40 replica, we got the GT3 RS, and we have the 600 LT. So it's not the easiest decision in the world. I should say honorable mention on the Huracan Performante. It is a fantastic car. I've driven it around track a couple times. The thing is, when it comes to Lamborghini, if I want to own a Lamborghini, I want it to be the big V12. And the Aventador is still rocking the single clutch, which kind of rules it out for me. I want it to be a dual clutch car. So there's just something that feels weird, even though the Huracan Performante outperforms everything else Lamborghini, and it's the lesser model below the Aventador in the line. When it comes to Lamborghini, I just want it. If I get the V10 model, I'm gonna just feel like there's a part of me missing that I should have gotten the V12. So for that reason, I think that until the Aventador replacement is rolled out, it's probably just gonna remain the honorable mention. But credit to Lamborghini, Performante is a fantastic car. They follow me on Twitter, and I still haven't bought a car from them. So hi Lamborghini guys on Twitter. I just wanna say, the Performante is fantastic. And it is a purely illogical, emotional reason for me not including this in the list. I'm dumb. It's me. It's not you. Okay? It's a great, great car. So that's it. I hope that we've had enough B-roll and images rolling in the background to keep this interesting, being that it was just me in front of my camera. But hopefully you have enjoyed this. And we've got to decide pretty quickly, actually, because especially if I want to go for the 600 LT, the allocations are going to run out really quickly. So it's got to be a very, very quick decision on my part. So I got to get thinking, and that's why I'm going to go. I'm going to go so I can think more about this. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned.